All right. We're back again for another great episode of PFREI. You guys won't believe who showed up at the podcast today. The man, the myth, the legend. I had to drag him here and beg him, but he came. I'm just kidding. Eric Brewer. This guy's done more than 3,000 residential real estate deals in Pennsylvania and Maryland. His experience covers purchases, renovations, direct-to-seller marketing, Novations. I actually learned Novations from this guy. We talk about that. Turnkey rentals, property management, and wholesale. He's currently the owner of Integrity First Home Buyers that does nearly 350 deals a year and is comprised of 40 plus members, staff, including the CEO and a full executive leadership team. Now, here it says Eric believes in dedication to family and community. I'm going to stop there because I think that out of all the stuff that I just read, that sticks out to me the most. So, it's more in your bio. I want to give, more his greatest joy is his wife, Sonia, daughter, Maya, Lily, Olivia, and Sophia. Wow. All girls.
I have a boy. Boy too. They may have missed him on the bio.
I would say he's in trouble.
19-year-old son.
A 19-year-old son. All right. Yeah, Mr. Nabayo, 1 through 8 years. You have a 19-year-old. So he says their son Camden. I didn't get to that part.
Yes.
Yeah, I met Camden. I played ball with him.
That's right.
Camden.
Yeah, he was in Phoenix.
Yeah, I remember. I had the pleasure of being on the same court as him. Like he was like an I pretty much just watched. I couldn't keep up with the kid. So
yeah, he's a hooper.
That's right. Can't forget about Camden. He's currently attending prestigious Blue Ridge Academy.
Yes.
All right. He has proven himself to be a leader in the classroom and on the basketball court. I can attest to that. I said, as well as the football field. Wow. Okay. As well as an entrepreneur. So Eric continues to grow his band, a brand. I said band because he got all these kids. He continues to grow his brand and share his knowledge and experience through motivational and educational speaking engagements. So I didn't butcher it too bad, but that's the bio. Glad I got it all out. But yeah, let's start with that dedication to family and community. That's the most that stuck out to me most in your bio. Speak to that.
Oh man. So I won't get too deep on you, but I grew up with a little bit of a, I will say, unconventional family life. My mother and father found out that they were having a little Eric when they were each like 16 and 18-year-olds respectively. So my mom was a sophomore in high school. My dad was graduating. And back in 1975, things were a little bit different, a little bit old fashioned. And my dad's parents said, listen, you're having a kid, you need to get a job. And he decided that the military was the right fit for him. He thought it gave him plenty of stability, knew he'd have a place to live for him and his, new family. And so he joined the U.S. Army, went off to boot camp and got stationed in Germany. And during that time frame, my mother decided she didn't want to move. She didn't want to leave with her new kid. And so I didn't meet my dad until I was 5 or 6 years old.
You were born in Germany?
No, my mom never went. My dad
got
out of basic, got stationed in Germany. Was right back then. He wrote letters, was writing letter to my mom, say, hey, I'm settled in. It's time to go. And she was like, nah, I'm good. I'm staying here. He's committed to the military, right? It's not like he can pack up and leave and get a new job. So that's how, that's how I came into this world. And then over the course of the next 18 years, my mom was in and out of a couple different relationships and marriages. And I went to 7 different schools and between kindergarten and 9th grade. And so I had a little bit of a, some would say undesirable childhood in regards to having what people look for as the prototypical or ideal family setup. And the reason I tell you that story is I think I cherish family probably a little bit more because of that. And maybe that's, I'm trying to make up for what seems like lost time to me, or I'm, trying to fix what I think was broken about my childhood. And I very much love my mother. I have a tremendous, respect for my father. But I think that's what has, made me so committed to having a family that can count on me, and a family that is there to support me. And it's a really big deal to me. So big that it's my number one priority. Like I constantly evaluate things that might individually benefit me or make me happy. And the filter I always run that stuff through is, how does this impact my children? Is it the best example of me being a great father? And that's tough, right? Because as an entrepreneur, and a business owner, there's sometimes where our businesses, our employees, stress, pressure, interest rates, inflation pulls us in a direction where we might need to show up a certain way at the office. And for me, I'm always making sure that the way I have to show up at the office doesn't jeopardize who I want to be when I'm at home.
That's
And
awesome, man.
sometimes that's hard,
I can relate 100%, especially early on. I've actually made my boys, I say, soft, overcompensating for them because of what I went through when I grew up. Like, you're gonna have this, I didn't have that, and trying to give them the things I wish I had and do for them, and kind of made them soft. But now it's the opposite of that. Got to turn them into men. So I definitely get what you're saying.
Yeah.
That adversity you went through, you don't want to see your kids or your family go through that. So that's the number one thing for you, to be dedicated to that. Yeah, thanks for that share, man. I appreciate it.
Sure.
Let's pivot a little bit now. They've got a little personal background on you. How did you get into real estate?
I joined the U.S. Army when I was 18.
Okay.
After my time in the U.S. Army, I came home and I was an avionics communications repairman, which is fancy language for I fixed radios and helicopters. And there wasn't a civilian application to that when I moved home. So I just came home and fumbled through the newspaper, found a newspaper article for a car dealership that was hiring, applied for the car dealership, got the job. And over the course of a couple of years, I worked my way up through the car dealership, from a guy that parked cars to a assistant service advisor to a salesperson to sales manager. And when 8 years later, when I left the car dealership, I was the general sales manager. And I left the car business because I was a father. My son was relatively young at that point. He was between 1 year and 3 years old. And I knew I had to make a choice between being a good car guy or a good dad. And at that point, I was obviously very committed to being a good dad, and realized I had to give up my career as a sales manager. And I was making good money. I learned an awful lot. I was pretty respected in my industry, and had worked my way up from literally a $7 an hour job to second or third command at a massive Toyota franchise. We had 200 plus employees, sold 300, 400 cars a month, new and used. And I gave it all up. I was a little burned out. The car business can beat you up, right? It's long hours. I'd be at the dealership for 12 to 14 hours a day. So got out of the car business, did some soul searching, figured real estate would be a good sort of lateral movement for me that would leverage my experience in sales and marketing that I learned from the car business. But bottom line is, I said, hey, when I sell a $200,000 home, you can make way more money than selling a $30,000 Toyota Camry. And
Facts.
I made a decision that I felt that one of the advantages I had in the car business was my knowledge of finance. It gives you a significant advantage in the car business. And we obviously also know that in real estate, it can give you an advantage, right? But one of the things that made us better at selling cars is we understood how to help people with low down payments, how to help people with less than perfect credit, how to help somebody that had 2 autos already in their name and they were buying a third and it was for their son, but he's not old enough to go on a loan, right? Like if you can solve those types of problems, you can sell more cars than the guy down the street. So I said, all right, I want to get into real estate. I'm going to learn finance. So I applied at a couple local mortgage companies and got a job at a place called Comfort Home Mortgage. And I basically cold called refi applicants. They bought leads, and I would cold call these people and pitch them on a refi. And I did really well at it. And I did that for about 3 or 4 months, was making really good money, more than I made in the car business. And I was having fun and I was learning something new. And the owner of the car dealership that I had worked for, who was my mentor in that business, he was the one that promoted me every single time I was given a new opportunity. He was the guy that kind of put his hand on my shoulder and said, dude, you can do this. why don't you come do this? And I go, okay, buddy, I'll do it. And he never steered me wrong. He taught me everything I know about business and life and sales. And shout out Craig Rich, that's my mentor. And he called me and was like, I'm selling the car dealership. I'm 37 years old. I'm bored. And I'd heard a radio commercial about flipping homes, and I want to do it, and I want to do it with you. And we had lunch the next day. He gave me a crash course on what he learned about flipping homes and why it would work. And I said, okay, I'm in. So that was in 2006, February 2006. And we started flipping homes. That's how I got into real estate.
Right before the downturn in the market. But I would say for car salesmen, starting off for that and that was like sales. I listening to everything you were saying, I was just hearing, wow, he learned the art of sell there. He was there for long. He learned how to become a master, listen to people, understanding, solving problems, becoming the greatest salesman. And that, came over to real estate with the finance. I know that was a good foundation getting into the fix and flip business. So, I mean, it's been a journey since then, because I know since 2006, you've been in before the market downturn. We'll talk a little bit about that. But why are you passionate for real estate investing? This is a question I ask all my guests. It's the theme of the show, passion for real estate investments. I hear all sorts of stuff, freedom, time, everything else. What is your reasoning? Why is your heart on fire?
This might be the first time you've ever heard this answer. I'm not.
This is the first.
I'm not passionate about real estate.
Wow.
I am passionate about people. I'm passionate about meaningful relationships. I'm passionate about nurturing meaningful relationships. I'm passionate about development. I'm passionate about pain. I'm passionate about the glory in life. I'm passionate about feelings. I'm very subjective. I'm very I move with my emotions. Right? I have instincts. I move towards. If you ask me to explain something, you'll hear, I feel this, I feel that, I believe that. Right? So I got to be honest with you. I think real estate's a racket. It's transactional. I had 3 deals today. 3 deals today fall apart. Right? 3 deals I'm supposed to get paid on in the next 16 to 27 days that I was projected to get profit, cash, celebration. I was collecting all kinds of checks, right? Emotional paycheck, financial paycheck, all 3 died. And I walked in this morning, got punched in the face. Interest rates are going up. There's all kinds of crazy stuff, right?
Well, I mean, that what you said, you're passionate for pain, so that's solving your pain.
Yeah, apparently I am. I'm a glutton for punishment, but I think we could all say the same things, right? There is freedom. It creates. There's crazy tax benefits compared to the car business and my lane and the things I'm good at. It gave me the opportunity to 10x any amount of money I ever imagined I ever could have made in the car business. I barely graduated high school. I didn't go to college. I grew up as a hustler. I was just, I had grit. I would just work harder than everybody else. I sold more cars than everybody else from the first day that I sold cars, because I just talked to every person that moved. I've never changed my oil in a car. I know the difference between a 16 valve motor and a V8. I couldn't tell the difference if they were sitting on my desk. I just talked to people, and I cared about whether or not people responded to me or liked me, which may be shallow of me, but I'm just being honest. And I would spend 45 minutes to an hour with someone on the car lot or in real estate to get them to like me. And then I would say, hey, listen, now that I have a friend, what can I do to monetize this relationship? Right. And in real estate, quite frankly, if you buy a good house after going to a motivated seller's appointment, you can make $50,000, $100,000 on that deal. No matter how good I did at car sales, the most you can make on a new car was $2,000-$3,000. And then as the salesperson, I might got a 10% or 20% cut of that. You got to sell a lot of cars to make decent money, right? So, real estate has been very good to me. I don't want to frown on the real estate gods, but the real answer is I'm not passionate about real estate. I love being able to influence people. I love being able to establish and develop a meaningful relationship with people where I think highly of them, they think highly of me, and we have a meaningful relationship.
I think that's the best answer I actually received on the show so far, right?
I'm being honest, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that. The way
Houses,
you laid it down.
contractors,
Yeah.
like who loves that stuff?
Yeah. I mean, people used to say freedom and everything else, but when they're
You're talking about
speaking,
freedom, bro. It's 5:45 Eastern time. You're working, I'm working. Right? Like, what's the
Wait,
freedom?
that's what my 14-year-old son asked me. He said, "I thought real estate brought you financial freedom. You about to go where? You about to do what? You doing
Yeah,
what on Saturday?" And I'm like, well, there's different levels, son. Like the passive people that I work for, the
yeah,
investors, those are the guy who live the financial freedom. But I'm
right.
still in the ground guy. I'll get there maybe in 10 years where I can give other people my money and passively just actively manage my passive investments. For right now, I'm in the mix. Stuck in the
A
grind.
good friend of ours, Jason Medley, says the path to passive income comes from a shitload of active income.
Mm,
Right. So
100%.
whenever we reach this passive level, it's because we've worked 2 years to 20 years of making active income and we've redistributed that into investments that pay us a passive return.
Just wrote that down. Active
And then here's the
income.
thing about passive income, right? Like it's almost a myth. Like even lenders, right? Like think about lenders, right? As we start to see as this, some might call it a recession, unfolds and unemployment ticks up and this stuff starts to come. There's some lenders that have enjoyed a ton of passive income by putting mortgages on single family residents and rental properties and hard money lenders and all this stuff. That might not be so passive here soon. If people can't keep up with loan payments, if people can't keep up with mortgage payments, guess what's going to happen? It's not going to be passive.
Yep. They're
You're
going to
going to
be
have to,
active. Yep.
yeah, you're going to have to collect your debt. You're going to have to maybe foreclose on some real estate. You're going to have to somehow secure the property. You're going to have to go back out and it's going to get active. Somebody's going to get active.
Yeah. I love that part of the business because I can go to those guys and have the notice signed to me and buy it at a discount.
Yeah.
Get the guy cash for keys or something like that. But it's I'm almost excited for what's to come, not because of the hardship, because I know adversity brings growth, right? The tougher the business get for us, the more we grow.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of people had the sell to the winds to our back, and everything was easy. And it didn't really give us an opportunity to think to stretch ourselves like COVID did. Like when COVID came, everybody hunkered down, they strategized, they thought, then we got past that, things were great. And
That
all
was
that
like
went
a
away.
fire drill, right? Like
Yeah.
COVID was, at least for real estate purposes, like it was like stuff's going to get real hard. It never really got that hard. And then when it opened back up, it was like the best real estate market from a seller's perspective we've seen in 100 years, maybe forever. And then you're trying to deal, like the one thing I don't think a lot of people talked about is it was really easy to sell a house for the last 2 years. It got really hard to buy one because there was more competition, right? Like everybody's like, man, real estate's crazy. And everybody and their brother became a wholesaler. Everybody and their brother was cold calling. Everybody and their brother was texting. Everybody and their brother was doing, direct mail, PPC. So yeah, once we got a deal, it would sell, and it would sell for probably more money than we thought. It would sell quicker than what we anticipated, but I was working 10 times harder. My cost of advertising went up. My cost of everything went up. Now, luckily, the house would sell for, more money than oftentimes what we projected. But it was still hard. The hard went from selling to buying. And now we're starting to see that's shifting.
The opposite.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's the part to me. Maybe I'm a little sensitive right now because of the way we've been getting, beat up these last couple of years. Because even though COVID turned out to, from a real estate perspective, my experience was quick, and we literally were shut down for like 2 weeks. And I do a ton of turnkey business. So once everybody realized that, okay, the world's not ending, we were selling homes like crazy, right? Because that was right around when interest rate changed. And I remember I was talking to somebody who might have been on a podcast or something. They go, what do you think's going to happen? This is early in COVID. I go, well, I can tell you what's going to happen. You're going to take 12 months of home sales and you're going to bottle them up in 7 months. So the next 7 months when we open, real estate's going to be crazy, right? Because at that point, interest rates were down, home prices were super low. It was this perfect storm. And what happened? As soon as they let people out of their houses, everybody went and bought a house, whether they needed one or not. Right.
Yeah.
And then we started to see prices go up. We saw crazy appraisal waivers, escalating offers. It was nuts. And that was frantic. I didn't love the last 2 years in real estate, although it was really good. It was frantic. It was chaos. Like, it was unpredictable. It was cutthroat. I just didn't love it. Right. And so the only option is okay, you got to go through a correction to get back to balance. And now we're going through a correction, and it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. I mean, I talk to people all the time. I talked to a big time wholesaler 2 days ago who called me to teach him Novations. He had 50 properties under contract. He's a nationwide wholesaler, 50 properties under contract, and hadn't accepted an offer on one of his homes in 14 days. I mean, he's doing 15 deals a week, 2 weeks, and had not sold a single thing. That's shocking.
Especially for those who that's their business model, that one thing, just wholesaling. They have a small portfolio of rentals, and they don't have enough income to close the gap.
Yeah.
That happened to me in 2008. I mean,
Yeah.
I was doing all flips, no rentals. I had multifamilies that were vacant. I was just selling them, and I was forced to be a landlord real quick.
Yeah.
Real quick. And like a lot of people during that time, took a big loss and really had to learn the landlord business to go from there. Now, that's why I keep a hybrid strategy. And I'm not a good wholesaler. When I joined CG Collective Genius, I was like, oh, these guys are making $1 million gross year off of wholesale. Try to learn that business, fell miserably at it. Miserably. I was like, you know what? That's not my core focus. I tried it. I'm out. Let me stick to what I know. And, make sure I get enough rentals to weather the storm, transition over to multifamily 2.5 years ago, and the best move ever. So even though the flip market we're close to New York, so we're seeing some signs of stuff slowing down, but we still have some New York buyers buying high ticket items. As long as you have good product, ground up, quality work, you'll sell it. But now we kind of just focus on that rental income to kind of offset any SG&A and stuff like that while we're waiting for flips to come to the market. I don't have a crystal ball. I think in the third quarter next year, we should see rates kind of tapering off a little bit. Maybe closer to the end of the year, maybe October next year. Who knows? So if people can weather the storm until then, I know it's going to be tough for wholesalers, but you're seeing banks coming out with creative products and non-QM stuff, making it easier for buyers, no paperwork, stated loans. You're going to see a lot of that stuff coming out again to kind of try to keep the stimulation as far as those loan applications coming through, because the mortgage company's in trouble too, right? The refi business over, they shutting their doors, letting people go. What is your biggest challenge now in real estate? I know you've had a couple of deals fall apart, interest rates are going, everything, the world is ending, as they say. What is your biggest challenge in your business now, and what are you doing to overcome that?
So I don't know if it's the biggest, but it's first, and that's this.
I love it. Mindset.
Yeah.
Listen,
I know that's a little touchy-feely. I know that feels
man, that's the truth. That's all you got.
Let me ask you a question. Finish this sentence for me the best way you can. In a recession, blank people make billions.
In a recession, blank
Who makes all the money? Who makes all the money?
That's a good question. So it's the people who have cash, one, right? People who have deep pockets. That's when you see the real buyers come out.
Yep.
They've just been waiting on the sideline.
Yep.
The people who have patience.
Yep.
Patient people. I know I'm probably not getting the word you want, but
that's it. It's the ballers, right? They sit, they watch us fight over the crumbs. And then when a catastrophe happens or there's a recession, they swoop in, they buy a ton of assets, and they never sell them.
And that's when they become rich. And
that's again, they become rich again. So that's not me. I've done well. I've earned a good living. God has blessed me, and I think he'll continue to do that. I left that CG meeting in Phoenix, the one we were talking about where my son played basketball. And you remember Bruce Norris got on stage. Yes. And he talked about, he predicted the future. He said, if gas prices don't go down and if interest rates don't go up, you're going to see price damage in Q4. He said it's just a math equation. People would ask him his opinion. He goes, I don't have an opinion. It's a math equation, right? Once interest rates and affordability goes past whatever the percentage is, there has to be price damage. It's the way it is, right? And now we're starting to see that unfold. And 90% of the markets across the US, you're seeing a price correction. It's not drastic. It's not, this is not 2008 by any stretch of the imagination, right? But I left there and I said that in my mind, right? Everybody says it over and over and over again. In a recession, the people with money make a killing. And I said to myself, I got to go find, because what do those people not have? They're not very active. They don't have access to construction. They can't source the deal flow, because I think what we're seeing now is when the deal flow comes, it's not going to look like 2008 where it was fueled by foreclosure. These homes will probably never make it to the courthouse steps, because for the first time ever, these people have a ton of equity, right? Because property values in the conservative places are up 25, 40% in the last 3 years. So if you bought a home 5 years ago and you default today, you can do something. You got something to work with, right? So I said to myself, I need to go align myself with some of these deep pocket mofos and figure out what causes them stress, what causes that, what they want to get to all these assets. They probably have a problem getting to them. What if I could solve that problem for them? I want to be in business with the people that have all the money, but don't have the resources, they don't know how to sit in a living room. They don't know how to get that lead. They don't know how to, renovate a home. They might know how to do it, and they don't want to.
Yeah.
So I went out and I started setting meetings with these people. I've had close to a dozen meetings with people that quietly manage billions and billions of dollars. Of the people I met with, two of them were family, where there was like literally, I didn't even know this existed. There was 4 families that are worth a couple $100 million each.
Family offices, right?
Yeah, not even an office though. It was one guy, right, that knows 4 other dudes that have extremely, extremely wealthy families. And they go, this guy knows how to manage money. He's going to manage our 4 families' money. And, he's been buying all kinds of like larger multifamily assets. He's like, I'll tell you what I want to buy. I want to buy multifamily assets, 230 units plus, so that I can have on-site management. Here's the criteria. I'll work a deal with you that you become my acquisitions arm. And I said, okay. So that's what I'm working on, right? And it can't happen fast enough for me. But that's what I'm working on. My point about mindset is if I had the wrong mindset, a negative mindset, a scarcity mindset, a victim mindset, I would sit around and I would say, I can't believe this is happening to me. And I would be justified, right? Yeah. I could pack up shop and I might fail flat on my face, but I'm not going out without making a lot of noise.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, my mindset, when you say, right, your business or anything you do will only grow to the extent that you do. And people fail to realize that they're looking for something external to help grow, but it's all internal. So when you said that, when you pointed at your head and said mindset, it reminded me back 2008 when the world started falling apart. I said that, why is this happening to me?
Yeah.
Because I was looking for something outside until I was humbled and had to realize I had to grow internally for anything, my business, my family, anything that I wanted to grow. So yeah, man, mindset. So you got to get your mind right. You got to get your head in the game. That's the only way. From what I hear you're saying, you're going to survive through that. Yeah.
You could give me a dozen tactical items, right? Like make 1,000 phone calls, go get this ground up construction job done in 90 days, go borrow $3 million, go do this, go do that. And that to me seems easier than just being in complete control of my thoughts.
Yeah.
Right? Like I wake up every day, I see Facebook, housing crash pending, boom, interest rates, Fed's raising them again, 0.75, right? And it's like this body blow, uppercut. And it's hard to not let that absorb, like to soak in. It requires, and maybe this is just me, but the one thing you'll find out about me, we've been friends for a while. We've chopped it up on the basketball court. I'm as honest as they come.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm very transparent about things that I struggle with. I'm very transparent about things I wish I was better at. And I'm very conscious of the importance of mindset, but I struggle with it every day. Right? Yeah. Those 3 deals, I can say mindset. When I found out those 3 deals fell apart today, it was like someone was like inside my stomach, like just knotting that thing up, right? Like twisting it like an old nasty wash rag. And I'm like, all right, Don't pay attention to that. It's not going to help you. Like my CO just texted me. It was like, just keep it a positive mindset. We'll focus on the most productive things. Right.
Yeah.
So I say that. I know the importance of it. There's stuff that I do, whether it's prayer, meditation, affirmations, going through, just a cycle of gratitude. I try and repeat out loud multiple times a day that the blessings that I'm most thankful for were gifts. My family was a gift. My children were a gift. My life, the breath that I breathe was a gift. I didn't pay for it.
And I kind of counterbalance it. I got one thing you can try. And I ask you this question if you can answer it. So far today, what's the best thing that happened to you?
Honestly, this. I get all this. I gotta be I'm gonna be dead honest with you. I'd laid off 5 people this morning. That was hard for me. Right?
Yeah.
2 of them, these are people that are right here. There's a math equation, man.
Yeah.
I probably waited 2-3 months longer.
Too long to do it.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with my son today in school. I was telling him something, not laying off, but a business shift, a pivot, and moving people around in a company. He was like, "It's just business." I was like, "These people are just used to doing this. I got to shift them." And he's like, "It's business."
Well, you remember what I told you I was passionate about?
Yeah.
Meaningful relationships.
Yes, 100%.
So if I was just passionate about real estate, it would probably feel more just about the houses and the roofs and the windows and the decks and the finished basements.
Makes sense.
I don't even see an address. I see a face. There's a face behind it. There's an owner, there's a seller, there's a contractor that did the work for me. And, I can honestly say right now, the circumstances that we face as real estate investors are outside circumstances. Like interest rates directly affected the housing market. It was intended to, right? That's the intention.
It drives the bus.
Yes.
It drives the bus.
Are there things I could have done the last 2 years to better prepare? You're damn right. And that's on me, right? I'll learn from that. I'll do things differently tomorrow as a result. I don't ever want to feel like this. I've been at this 17 years. The thought that someone changing interest rates can have this big of an impact on my peace is unacceptable to me.
Well, I mean, it happened now. It's, what to do to prepare for next time when it's happened. Markets are cyclical, so you know how to pivot, how to navigate it. There'll always be more challenges that you have to overcome and get over, and it's just what's next. Oh man, this is a great interview. I'm gonna wrap it up.
By the way, the best thing that happened to me was like I can't explain to you why, but talking to you and getting a chance to share my experience and open up a little bit. We've been on here, what, 30 minutes? I feel like I'm 15 pounds lighter.
Ask yourself that question every time. I do that twice. When people are negative and they're dumping on me, I change it and say, "Hey, what's the best thing that happened to you today?" And it shifts the mind to think about good, positive things.
Does
right?
that mean I was being negative?
No. I was just giving you a tool because you was giving me all the stuff you was trying, like everything else. And I was like, "Hey, try this out. It works for me."
Fuquan, you going to be at CG next week?
I'm going to be virtual next week. I'm not going to be there next week, but I'll be virtual.
The guy that's going to be there, Dr. Ben Hardy.
Yes.
He's a keynote. He wrote Who
Yes.
Not How. He wrote The Gap.
I read the books.
In The Gap and the Gain, and I need to be more disciplined with doing this, especially now to manage my mindset. He talks about something he's been doing for 30 years. The guy that co-authored it, and at the end of each day, and I'd be happy to do this with you if you'd like. If you would like to exchange this information with me on a daily basis, I'll do it with you as long as you'll have me. But at the end of each day, you send 3 things that you accomplished that day, 3 gains. Guess what? I had 3 deals fall apart today. Every mistake, every challenge, every time you fall down needs to be translated to a lesson.
Yeah. Because
if everything went wrong in your day, you should have at least 3 gains and say, you know what happened? This went wrong, and this is what I learned from it. And then 3 priorities for the following day. And what he said was the best way to ensure that you wake up in the morning with a good attitude is to go to sleep with a good attitude.
Yes, that is true. That is true.
So anybody that's listening to this, gap in the gain, one little nugget you can take away from it is go through an exercise at the end of each day where you list 3 lessons and 3 gains that you had for that day, and then 3 priorities for the next day.
3 lessons, 3 gains, 3 priorities. This was a great wealth of information. Really appreciate you coming on the podcast and really sharing that wisdom and the value and being transparent, subjective, and all of that good stuff. You know, that's really important. And basically, hold on a second. Just want to wrap this up. Yeah, you know, just thanks for coming on the show. I really appreciate it, man. I'm going to wrap it up now. It's another great episode of PFREI. I'm your host, Fuquan Bilal. Today we had Eric Brewer. This was a really great podcast, man. I learned this was the thing that stuck out to most is you said you were not passionate about real estate. And I took some notes on that and kind of makes sense. That's the first time I got that answer. But thanks for coming on the show, man. I really appreciate it. You guys can catch us on all the other social media channels, YouTube. Make sure you guys subscribe and like and comment. Thanks, Eric. I appreciate you, brother.
See you, buddy.
All right, cool.
Take care.
All right.